going in for an interview or when you want to start a business. So remember, don't overestimate and do not sell yourself short. So today we will be discussing 5 career change assumptions you need to test or verify before you believe. This will be talking and pinpointing some of the belief systems, some of the assumptions we've held for so long that stop us from trying to make a move in the direction that we really want to go. So the first one is overestimating the glamour of your so-called ideal job. You think it's going to be so rosy in the next job that you're trying to go for. For instance, perhaps you're thinking of a career as a buyer, somebody that buys for the Harrods of this world, for the John Lewises of this world, and thinking that you'll be going and traveling around the world to Italy, to all sorts of fashion houses to buy things. But the reality is that while you might make that trip once or twice in a year, there are actually so many other pieces of the puzzle. There's so many Excel sheets to look at. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes before they actually make a decision to buy. And you have to understand the reality of the role as a whole before you take on that role. So it's always good to have insight into the role properly before I assume that it's going to be the best fit for you. Another one is, another example would be somebody that wants to be a pilot. You like the glamour of being able to travel the world and being a pilot and whatnot, but you forget that there's going to be jet lag involved in that, the responsibility of making sure that everybody has a safe flight, and the fact that sometimes you might miss your family and friends. So that's another thing. So sometimes the ideal role that you're looking out for might not be as glamorous as you expect. So do your homework first. The same thing if you're thinking of becoming an entrepreneur. Remember, all of a sudden you have to work harder or you have to work smarter to get the same results that you were getting when you were earning money as an employee. So keep all of that in mind when you take any position or when you're thinking of the next move. Do not overestimate the glamour of the new role that you're thinking of going to. That's one. The next one is underestimating everything else. You've overestimated your capacity in one area, but in another place you've underestimated your capacity. You've underestimated the value of the transferable skills that you have as an individual. So all of a sudden, you don't think you can take on a role. You don't think you can do some certain things because for some reason you think you don't have enough transferable skills. You don't have enough of the wherewithal to do the role. We think that you will not have enough time to do that. This happens a lot with women. So do not underestimate the value of what you bring to the table. Sometimes you also underestimate the idea of you being able to actively look for a job and actually get it. That it is possible. And sometimes you underestimate the idea of you being able to find a job in a totally new field. It is possible. You just have to do your research and go about it the right way. Today, we're not going to talk about that, but don't assume that you have to start at the very bottom of the ladder when you're starting in a new industry. Don't underestimate the skills that you bring to the table that will mean you might not have to start at the bottom of the ladder. So the third thing that sometimes we overestimate is how much you're going to earn in your new industry. You assume that when you get into IT, you'll be earning loads and loads of money, possibly, but sometimes it's not the case. The role you're taking or the industry, the role you're going into or the company you're working for sometimes dictate what that salary will be. And so it might not be as rosy as you expect it to be. And sometimes it is far more than you expect it to be. So test it. Basically, before you assume that you're going to get X amount of salary, test it, do your research to find out what it actually is going to look like and what the growth prospects are in that industry. Don't just assume. Don't underestimate and do not overestimate. It's really important. Now, the fourth thing I wanted to quickly bring to your attention is you're overestimating the talent, the and the prowess and the charm that other people bring to the interview. You look at everybody. Have you ever gone to an interview and everybody that is coming for that interview is sitting outside at the reception? And you just take a look at them and you just assume this person is going to be definitely better than me. This person has it all together. And you, for some reason, you forget everything that you have going for you. And you think, no, if I'm competing against this person, especially if you know the person, maybe you're going for a role internally and you know the person competing against you for the same job, you all of a sudden overestimate that person's talent and you think, if this person is going for it, there's no way I can get it. Or you think, if this person is doing this business already and is already making so many inroads, there's no way I can compete in this market. I mean, if Rihanna said everybody's making lipsticks now, there's no way I can compete. We wouldn't have Fenty today. So don't overestimate everybody's value. You are you, and you bring something unique to the table. And you have to remember that when you are going in for an interview or when you want to start a business. So remember, don't overestimate and do not sell yourself short, which is the fifth one. Underestimating your own capacity. I've done it before, and I'm sure many of us as women have done it. You underestimate your capacity to stretch, to try new things, to be better than where you currently are. If you're too comfortable, you never grow. So I challenge you in this new year to get a little bit uncomfortable. Try something new in small bites. That's the next thing. We've mentioned the 5 things I wanted you to test before you assume you cannot do something or you can't do it. So when it comes to underestimating your capacity, the easiest way to understand what that capacity is by doing. So you can take a small project, you can go for a secondment, you can go and find out what the role is, you can do a small section of that job and stretch yourself a little bit. Ask to be involved in a voluntary or shadowing capacity to understand what that role would look like for you on a day-to-day capacity, to understand whether it's something you want to do. Don't just assume that you will not be able to make it work. You might need to jiggle your schedule around, but you might be able to make it work. So, or you want to start a business, you don't have to go all in. You can try to sell to your friends. You can try to start the business on a smaller capacity and gradually see what you're able to do. Stretch yourself just a little and see what is out there. You might be surprised that you actually start enjoying yourself, start enjoying what you bring to the table, and start enjoying the things that you contribute to your organization and to what you are doing. So that's what I would say. Start small. Now that we've spoken about the things that you need to test and validate before you assume you cannot do something, there are 2 extra things I want to talk about in this year, especially in this year, as you go about either going through a career change or trying to improve in your career or grow or start a side hustle or start a business or even start a small passion project. It will take courage on your part. You're going to need to be courageous to take some steps to go in the direction you want to go. Do not let anyone talk you out of even trying. It's going to seem like some of the mountains might seem insurmountable, but you need to have some courage and be bold and try something new, because you never know what you would find at the other end of the rainbow, right? Another thing is you need to start with the right mindset from the get-go. Don't start with the mindset that you cannot do it and it's too scary or you will not succeed or it's just going to be too difficult, too time consuming. If you start with the mindset, especially in this kind of year, and say, I'm not sure I can pivot now, 9 times out of 10, you're not even actually going to try. Start with the mindset that even if I don't get to exactly where I was planning to go, I will be further along than where I started from, because you have chosen to do these things. So that you should aim for the stars, or is it aim for the moon? And if you only get to the stars or you get to the sky, at least you're no longer on the ground. So start the year with the right mindset in terms of your career and look out for the opportunities. Yes, that's the next thing I want to say. If your mindset is right, and if you are ready to be courageous and you speak to your inner demons that stop you from wanting to try something, it will be easier for you to see the opportunities that come your way. It will be easier for you to look at the glass half full as opposed to half empty. And this is on a personal note for me. I find that when I try to ensure that I'm in a positive state, finding ways to be grateful and grateful and show gratitude for what I do have. And when I find ways to remain positive and happy, ideas come and flow better and you're happier. Sometimes I might just be washing the dishes and ideas come to me, but because I like to sing when I'm washing dishes. But find a way to keep yourself at peace and in some level of happiness and joy. And that way you'll see ideas will come, opportunities, you'll see the opportunities as they begin to unfold around you. I hope that has given you a couple of pointers to start the year. It certainly has helped me. And I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening. Ciao. Bye.